Okay.
Like 7:20
Hi, Kevin.
by 7:30.
Hi, Faith. Hi, Tammy. Christy may be joining too. Tammy, Faith, Kevin Haynes. So far, Kevin, you are the one and only family attendee, but I'll let you guys see me, trying to grow my bangs out. Ignore this. Okay, it is after 7, so we'll get going. And the people that are here, Carrie is here, Bev is here, Rich Lund, and myself. So welcome, everybody. I don't see anybody new. Hopefully you all had a chance to look up the annual meeting minutes, of which a good deal of that page was annual meeting business, which can be boring, but we screamed right through it. Any questions on the minutes from January from anybody?
Well, just the spelling of Calendar Street.
I spelled, my computer probably wanted to make it a calendar instead of a Marie Calendar. Damn spell check. Maybe add squares for Roundup Road Apple on calendar.
Actually, it didn't spell it right for calendar either.
Where is it? Oh, I have to go to that page. Page
Towards the
2.
bottom.
Huh. It's leaving out a
Didn't
few
make it
letters.
Calendar or.
Maybe because I had it in all caps, my spell check and my brain weren't working. Anyway, anything else on the minutes from January that anybody wants to mention for edit or correction, or just on account of? Okay, so by consensus, we're just accepting the minutes. Not a lot going on with finances. For those of you that help with filing annual reports, I filed the state business report, and we paid for our post office box and for a year. And last month, okay, the month before, we paid for our storage for the year. So looking at the finance report, there's a lot of miscellaneous expense and a little bit of miscellaneous income. So not a whole lot to report. But that is what is new in the world of Sister City finance.
Donna, you may just want to update to 2022 on the spreadsheet.
Oh, good idea. Where does it say? Oh, at the top. Thanks, Kevin. Because way up at the top, I've got that where it autofills with the date I printed it. I will do that so that we know that that's current year stuff. And now we have another. Christie's here in person. Thanks, Kevin. Anything else on the finance report to point out, or? I'm writing down things. Okay. Carrying on. So now this is stuff that affects the families, of which, Kevin, you can report to everybody that didn't show up unless they read it. Per email, Naganohara said that they are interested in doing a homestay this year, right? As it is, the Japanese citizens can leave Japan and get back. They would have a long quarantine, as is right now. It's like 7 days in a quarantine hotel and 10 days at your home. Currently, only Japanese citizens are allowed entry in Japan. So what we are doing is crossing our fingers that all that changes and we have a mutual exchange this summer. But one thing we discussed last month, and I need to ask all the families, if the Japanese can come here, but it's not available for us to go there, are the families willing to host with the understanding that eventually your student is going to get to Japan? And I know, like Marge Shin said, yes, we would be happy to host. But if it doesn't happen this summer, it might be hard for Fiona the next summer, because that's the summer before her senior year, and she may be busy visiting colleges, earning money, what have you. I know the older the kids get, the harder it is to think that far ahead. Anyway, Kevin, what is your opinion on that? And I'll have two families, or do you need to discuss it with the whole family before you make a statement or not?
We discussed it a little bit. We're not opposed to hosting it's the first part of August, I think, that you listed as dates for possibilities, but we're in the same situation. If we can't travel to Japan this year, I think we would be out at this point in trying to travel to Japan in future dates.
Yeah, I know, it sucks. Yeah, got it. And yes, the dates, I don't know how they could lock in dates, but those are the dates they usually come. If
And
they do,
are the dates that you listed, like leaving the 6th or 7th of July, if we do go, is that tentative?
that's a guesstimate.
Okay. Because in the
Yeah.
past, it was more like after the second week in July. It was more like the last 2 weeks of July and then a break. And then the first part of August is when they came here.
No. They've usually traveled sometime the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th. Those are the days they usually leave. Compared to Japan, they've gotten to the point where they need to be back in Japan on 12th because there's something national going on the 13th. We send the kids normally a midweek date after the 4th of July. It just kind of, it's not set in stone, but they would be departing around the 6th or 7th and come back possibly 2 weeks later.
Okay.
But yeah, our dates are estimates.
Okay.
Yeah. I just looked at the calendar and picked a midweek date and then 2 weeks later. And we usually, our kids stay there longer than their kids stay here. And we do it partly for finances, because traveling in the middle of the week is so much less expensive than if they travel on Friday or Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I sent an email to David today. We're trying to figure out when we can have family meetings. It would be splendid if we could have a family meeting in person. Faith had said that the first Wednesday each month is the only other day that the city Zoom account is available. And I looked at a calendar today. We wouldn't be able to have a group meeting here the first Wednesday in March, because we would have a meeting at 7 o'clock and there's a 7 o'clock Ash Wednesday service. That is Ash Wednesday. So as everything else that may need to move to a different location, or if David is available to do language and culture that day, that's what I proposed to him, Faith, is that the Zoom is available the first Wednesday. And if we can't get all the kids in one place at one time, we would try and do a hybrid in-person language and culture recorded on Zoom and tell those that couldn't get there how to get to the recording to review it. At a certain point, now that these kids are older, when it comes to language and culture, they may have to do a little self-motivation to get there. So family meetings, we're looking at the first Wednesday just because we could do them by Zoom. If it's not working for people to do it by Zoom and we need to meet in person, we could always go back to meeting in person and there wouldn't be a Zoom like we used to do the second and fourth Wednesday. But one way or the other, we need more attendance from family so that we can keep everybody up to date. It worked to email for the boots and buckles. I can't imagine emailing for everything that we might do rather than seeing people in person. So further on the schedule, I worked on a couple of different, I looked at these off and on, but there's 2 Excel sheets all on the same file. One of them has dates by month, just so families could see what we're kind of sort of committing to. Yard cleaning this year will be very hard because there are not a lot of weekends between when the weather usually gets good and then the weather gets too good, and we've got spring break and Easter break in between. One thing we do need to commit to is the garage sale because we need to get the stuff out of storage. As we go further on, we said that we would do the Give a Hoot, which is good public relations, and we would do the Roundup Road Apple. But we need participation to do the Roundup Road Apple, so we may need to revisit that also. Because we lost fundraisers and we had some families drop out, I just kind of, I took people that were signed up for Burger Booth and just changed that to helping with the depot and Festival of the Arts. We canceled the golf tournament. So I took the golf tournament people and slipped them in to our new section of the Give a Hoot. That would be the Cunninghams and the Stern/Lang family. Everybody else, I think, is still on the fundraiser that they had chosen 2 years ago. And Nora Fanuzzi is still doing thank you cards. If at some time we could get a group picture of everybody, and I don't know how to organize that, unless I go to the high school one day after school and have everybody stand around the Ranger. We're out of pictures to send with any thank you cards. And the last pictures we were sending was the group photo from Homestay 2019. So it'd be nice to have a little more up-to-date picture. I've screamed through the agenda. Now we can open to discussion for people that are here and people that are online. And
A question.
Bev has a question. Yep.
Are we gonna be interfering with the Lenten study,
With the what?
with the Lenten study here at the church
No.
in March?
She's going to do the Linton study. Bev's asking if there's any other conflicts in March with St. Andrews and a Linton study, and there won't be. The priest here is doing it by Zoom. She will do it by Zoom from her home, and then that way there's two churches, St. John's and Immigrant and St. Andrews here. That way both congregations can be involved in the same study. So there isn't a conflict with the church use during March. Another thing I was thinking of, hoping that we get to go this summer and knowing that some of these families haven't been full on fundraisers, but we have raised money every year. Not doing the golf tournament is not going to hurt our income at all this year. I guesstimated if we have an exchange and a homestay, you know, we might be 700 in the whole year to date, but our net income prior to that has been substantial. And I estimated on the low end of all those fundraisers. I looked at average and plugged in a low average. So. Okay. Any other questions, discussion? It is the 30th anniversary of, last year was our 30th anniversary. I'm trying to remember, this year is a benchmark anniversary for Kumamoto, Montana state relations. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I could ask,
When you went to, wasn't that the 30th?
Yeah,
could be,
Did we wait
so
for
it,
Helen or that?
Yeah.
well, that was
What year
the,
was that?
not the, like the Seattle.
thirty-fifth anniversary this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the, and for those of you online and here, Montana State has a sister state relationship. And that's with the Kumamoto prefecture. And that's where Keomi's from.
She just explained, we have a sister state there as well as matters. Montana is sister state with Kumamoto. And they've been, this is the 35th year.
Oh.
anniversary of that. But I think that some people did come out from the consulate for that.
Oh, okay.
When Donna went out.
Where did that come from?
It was, they did a thing in Helena, the Taiko drummers went. They took all the drums and performed. I
Oh, way
went,
back.
Dave and Keomi went, and it seemed like there was somebody else.
I went.
You went, did Janet go? Did you
I
guys
can't remember.
drive separately or did we all go together? Heck, that was 5 years ago and us old people can't remember. Anyway, if we find out about something going on in Helena to celebrate the Montana Kumamoto sister state relationship, I will let you all know. What?
They have the Taiko drummers, I'll go.
The Taiko drummers have disbanded, as you know. That's why the drums are all at the high
Oh, you
school.
mean The Montana Tyco? When
That's
did
where
that-
the drums
Oh.
came back to us.
Oh, I thought they.
Yes, but we could get Garrett to go with the high school band.
That's a thought. We could send the Tyco drums with the high school band and Garrett Stannard, the drumming band leader.
I think that would make a big impression.
It would. It'd be fun. Yeah.
Because they had so much fun when they had them in the parade. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
When they did the parade and had the drums.
Oh, Kevin, I know what you were saying, and I wonder how many other families would be in that same boat. Because everybody's getting burned out from waiting, and I know that between your junior and senior year, kids get really busy. But I still can tell everybody that if you hang in there, you will go. When I chaperoned, I took a girl that had graduated from high school and one that was a junior in high school that had worked, between the two of them, they'd probably worked 9 years. One of them worked fundraisers when her brother went, and then she applied, wasn't selected, that was postponed a year, then she applied again, was selected, and it was postponed another year. So by the time she got to Japan, it was 5 years. So those that are willing to hang in there, we will get you there. We just have no idea when COVID is going to quit slapping us in the face and let us get back to normal.
I would like to say we're in for no matter how long, but that's just not the truth.
Yeah, I don't think COVID is going to totally ever go away. Things will adapt.
Main issues for us is just sports and other things that are time consuming that I don't know if we would be able to commit indefinitely.
Yeah. Well, my thinking too was if we're canceling, if there's not an exchange this summer, if it's the same families hanging in one more time, we need to do a garage sale this year because we need to get storage emptied. We probably wouldn't have to do a garage sale the next year. I mean, we've got all these families that have been fundraising, not full-time, but enough over the years. Cumulatively, it's as if putting in a lot of work in 1 year. And I know that as these kids get older, they're still involved in sports, they start working. That's my trouble with trying to find a day when everybody could meet for language and culture is impossible because kids are working. The older they get, those of us that have raised teenagers, the older they get, the less we see them. So,
Especially once they get a driver's license.
yes,
Oh, yeah, and driver's license.
yep,
happening.
yep.
And a car.
Yeah, don't let them have a car. Here's your driver's license. You can't use the keys. So,
I do have one update though, I mean, just FYI, I was talking to Jeanette Waldron, she said that the Germany trip canceled.
so Carrie shared that there was supposed to be a trip to Germany
Just this
with the
last
school,
Week.
and it's been canceled within the last week. Because last summer, if we'd have gone to Japan and Dan McGrath did a Germany and a Spain trip, they were both canceled. Well, all 3 were canceled. Carrie says the German trip has been canceled. Does anybody know if the Spanish trip to Spain is canceled?
Germany is so restricted, and he's like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to like.
So we don't know.
Quarantine with 20 some kids and everything.
Yeah,
so-
foreign travel is,
So it's super restricted, nobody, they're letting nobody in.
yeah.
Right now.
She's saying that Germany is like Japan.
He's
They're
like,
just
no.
not letting anybody in. Kind of like
He was just
Australia.
like, yeah, no, I'm gonna, he's like, I can't imagine being stuck over there with 20 kids. I'm home there. you know, if they couldn't get in.
If they couldn't get in, oh
Or
yeah,
something, or get out, or
Yeah.
vice versa, you know, whichever, yeah, so he's like, he just called it and canceled it. Spain is still on.
anything else? Folks out in Facebook land? Not Facebook. Zoom land? No,
No. Nothing for me.
okay. Faith, I hope you're feeling better. If you can hear me. I've got that winter, had a cold, had a sinus infection. Now I have that winter wheezy cough. Hate it. So, okay, I'm going to disconnect because Faith had a unstable internet connection. Thank you all.
Good
We'll
night.
keep you posted about family meeting and or language and culture.
Thanks, Donna.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.